Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, a campus is in mourning as an active shooting in Las Vegas leaves 3 victims dead and 1 critically injured. Here in Lexington, school officials have finally adopted a policy on book bans, but some students and parents still have concerns about the plan.
Parents, other than my own, should not have a say in what books I have access to in a public library.
And Republican White House hopefuls traded blows last night in the final GOP debate of the year.
This is the fourth debate that you would be voted in the first 20 minutes as the most obnoxious blowhard in America. So shut up for a little while.
Business is booming for small shops in Lexington this holiday season. Our Jack Krause spoke with local store owners about efforts to keep consumers coming back instead of spending online. And later in the show, Caden Buss gives us his weather forecast, which includes a mix of rainy days and sunny skies. All this and more here on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University, with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Jasmine Zhang.
And I'm Liz Trubeck. 3 people are dead and another was critically injured after gunfire erupted on the University of Nevada, Las Vegas campus Wednesday. According to authorities, the suspect, who was also dead, was a former college professor who sought a teaching job at UNLV. CNN's John Lawrence has more.
A flurry of emotions hovering over the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, after a gunman opened fire on campus Wednesday.
You see all these school shooting stuff always, and I'm like, I kind of knew it was going to happen to me one day, but it's weird to have it real. It's scary, and it's real, and it needs to be taken seriously.
The suspect, who was pronounced dead at the scene, is a 67-year-old career college professor, according to a law enforcement source.
Our hearts go out to the entire UNLV community. No student should have to fear pursuing their dreams on the college campus.
This marks the 80th school shooting in the U.S. this year, according to CNN analysis, and it comes more than 24 hours after a deadly gun rampage in the Austin-San Antonio area.
Our thoughts are with the 6 victims who lost their lives, as well as several others who were injured, including 2 police officers.
In response to both shootings, President Joe Biden issued a statement calling on Congress to pass a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
The fact that this happens over and over again is ridiculous. School shootings have been happening since I was born. I was born in the year 2000. It's 2023, and I'm tired of it.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The UNLV campus is located a few miles away from the scene of the 2017 mass shooting at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival, where 58 people were killed and hundreds of others were wounded. Classes at UNLV are canceled until Monday. Former U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says he is resigning from Congress and will leave at the end of the year. McCarthy's resignation comes just 2 months after he became the only speaker in history to be voted out of the job. McCarthy's decision will narrow the GOP House's already slim majority, which got smaller last week after the expulsion of former New York Representative George Santos.
And here locally, Lexington City Schools finally has a policy about banning books. It comes after months of heated debate about the district's ban of some books with sexually explicit content. But the fight isn't over yet. Look, Fountain reports.
In a unanimous vote, the school board's new policy lays out a host of new parental oversight measures and a formal process for reviewing and removing books. But the debate over policy is not over. Board members agreed to keep discussing changes at their next meeting in January.
You all will have an opportunity to revisit this policy early next year.
Many parents and students want changes to the policy too.
Parents, other than my own, should not have a say in what books I have access to in a public library.
Never in the history of the world have the people burning or banning books turned out to be the good guys. I encourage everyone to read more that good stuff.
Lexington schools have never had a policy about sexually explicit content in school materials. The action on book banning comes after a parent sent a letter to the school board in early September calling the book Kiss Number 8 anti-Christian. Lexington schools banned that book and It's Perfectly Normal for being sexually explicit. It also removed 25 other books in October until they could be reviewed with new guidelines. Now, with the new policy, the superintendent says those books will return. But she would not say if Kiss Number 8 would be put back in the library. At the same time, some parents worry that book banning could spread to diversity education, like books about Black history.
African American history is American history. We deserve to be on the shelf. We deserve to be read about and learned about.
The school board said that no Black history books will be banned. Board Chair Tim Diet leaves at the end of the month, so it's up to the remaining members to keep revising the policy. From the Lexington City School Board, I'm Luke Fountain with the Rockbridge Report.
Overseas, Israeli forces struck the Gaza town of Rafah twice Thursday, impacting thousands of displaced Palestinians. Rafah was one of the last places where civilians have sought refuge after Israel widened its offensive against Hamas. Heavy fighting in and around the thousand city of Khan Yunis has displaced tens of thousands of people and cut most of Gaza off from delivery of food, water, and other vital aid. More than 80% of the territory's population has already fled their homes. Former President Donald Trump returned to his New York civil fraud trial as a spectator today for the first time in over a month. The case puts Trump's reputation as a wealthy businessman on trial, with state lawyers alleging that he petted his net worth by billions and exaggerated the value of his signature properties. Prosecutors are seeking to block the former president from doing business in his home state, among other penalties.
Trump was also a big topic of discussion at last night's fourth GOP presidential debate. 4 Republican White House candidates took to the stage in an effort to chip away at the former president's commanding lead in the polls. Julia Benbrook was there and has the highlights.
In a debate without the frontrunner, the remaining Republican White House hopefuls making their case to voters in Alabama.
I have delivered results. That's what we need for this country.
I have been a conservative fighter all my life.
It is going to take a leader from the outside with fresh legs from the next generation to unite this country.
It's often very difficult to be the only person on the stage who's telling the truth.
Front and center, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, positioning herself as the best alternative to Donald Trump.
I love all the attention, fellas. Thank you for that.
Her key rival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, trying to jumpstart his campaign, less than 6 weeks before the first votes are cast in Iowa.
We know from her history, Nikki will cave to those big donors when it counts, and that is not acceptable.
The two going at it on a range of issues, including the economy and foreign policy.
If you harm an American service member, you're going to have hell to pay when I'm president. We are not going to let our troops be sitting ducks.
I dealt with Iran every day when I was at the United Nations, and they only respond to strength.
The other two candidates on stage, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie and businessman Vivek Ramaswamy, looking for their own scene-stealing moments.
I mean, Nick, if you can't tell the difference between where Israel is and the U.S. is on a map, I can have my 3-year-old son show you the difference.
As for former President Trump, the candidates on stage insisting that it's time to move on.
The idea that we're going to put someone up there that's almost 80 and there's going to be no effects from that, we all know that that's not true.
He is unfit to be president, and there is no bigger issue in this race, Megyn, than Donald Trump.
Trump spent his evening at a fundraiser in Florida supporting his candidacy. In Tuscaloosa, I'm Julia Benbrook.
At least one more GOP debate is expected before the January 15th Iowa caucus. Today, a Texas judge gave a pregnant woman permission to get an abortion, which is an unprecedented challenge of the state's ban put into place following Roe v. Wade being overturned. The woman has been to the emergency room 4 times during her pregnancy, and her fetus has a fatal diagnosis. The judge, Maya Guerrera Gamble, who is a Democrat, says that she will give the woman a temporary restraining order that would allow her to have the abortion. The decision is likely to be appealed by the state.
Coming up after the break, Lexington may soon allow homeowners to build small backyard houses, which could provide more affordable housing in the city.
Be December, but we have clear skies, mild temperatures, and the sun's out. I'm Caden Buss, and looking forward to this weekend. We've got some rain and the possibility of snow. Stay tuned for my 5-day weather forecast.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. Lexington City Council could decide at a meeting tonight whether residents can build small houses in their backyards. The city lacks affordable housing, but local officials say the small houses can provide cheaper rents for tenants. The houses, officially called accessory dwelling units, are cropping up in other states, but they're only legal in small numbers of Virginia localities, Jenny Helwig reports.
City Manager Jim Hallis says that building small houses will make Lexington's housing more affordable.
These are smaller units, so in that regard, they should be more affordable. And, you've got the laws of supply and demand, so if you increase the supply, hopefully, it'll help the pricing a little bit.
But Planning Director Arn Glaser doesn't think housing prices will go down across the city.
But just because we add a few units doesn't mean that all of a sudden rents are going to be cheaper.
One benefit of building a house in a backyard is that it doesn't require more land. That's key for Lexington, which cannot expand its borders under state law. Not all small houses are used as rentals. There are several small houses in Crozet. Alana Werfel purchased a house there with a 2-story barn in its backyard. The 38-year-old converted the top floor to a living space. Relatives can stay there when they visit.
Or if anything happens to our parents, they need to move in with us. The idea is that this barn is their space, so they can stay out here by themselves.
Lexington has placed some restrictions on the houses. Their maximum size is 1,000 square feet. Glaser says they also require a permit approved by both the Planning Commission and City Council.
So that's going to be a little bit of a burden, but it's also perhaps easier for us to start out that way to see how a handful of these go.
But he says the city will consider loosening permit restrictions later on. The proposed ordinance would go into effect on January 1st. Officials say they are looking for new ways to add housing to Lexington. This is just one step in that process. Reporting from Lexington for the Rockbridge Report, I'm Jenny Helwig.
Expansion plans for Rockbridge Regional Jail have been delayed. Rockbridge County, Lexington, and Buena Vista will seek state funding to renovate the existing jail instead of building a regional jail with neighboring Allegheny and Bath counties. Meanwhile, the inmate overcrowding continues to grow. To find out more, read the story by Fraley Williams on our website.
The holiday season is in full swing for Lexington businesses. As Jack Krause reports, local businesses are working hard to compete with online stores.
Adobe Analytics said that Black Friday shoppers set an online spending record of $9.8 billion this year. However, Just Games Lexington co-owner Paige Gantz said her store has not suffered too much from online competition.
The patterns this year have been pretty close to previous years, except that Black Friday was stronger than Small Business Saturday. And that was true for my other retailer friends downtown.
The holiday season is essential for small businesses.
The 2 months of November and December account for about a quarter of our sales for the year, which is actually less than some retail businesses in terms of how critical the holidays are. It's certainly the busiest time of year.
Businesses like the Shenandoah Attic and Victorian Parlor are doing everything they can to bring customers into the store.
We do all types of marketing, whether it's social media, word of mouth is always good. Doing the little extra special things like gift wrapping for free, it really means something special to somebody.
Longtime resident of Rockbridge County, Butch Irvine, said he still prefers local shopping over shopping online.
You can't get this online. The thing you can get online is frustrating.
Irvine said he plans to spend about as much as last year on holiday gifts. The National Retail Federation predicts that holiday spending will grow between 3 and 4% over 2022, thanks to cooling inflation and deep discounts.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, we'll tell you how a push for more renewable energy output in Rockbridge County has been met with criticism from locals.
And Caden Buss brings you his 5-day weather forecast after the break.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report.
The Rockbridge Regional Tourism Board appointed Cheryl Wagner as its new director. Wagner will oversee the marketing of Lexington, Buena Vista, and Rockbridge County beginning this month. The Lexington native previously worked as Stanton's tourism director. And some farmers in Rockbridge County want to build solar panels on their land, but neighbors fear that the projects will erode farmland, destroy scenic views, and hurt the environment. Public hearings for proposed projects have been heated, with dozens of locals voicing their concerns. In response, the Board of Supervisors voted last week to continue the hearing for Natural Bridge Sanitation Project until January. To read more about the local and national trends surrounding the issue, read Emma Malinak's story on our website. I can't believe this semester is almost over.
I know. The weather is getting colder, and it starts to feel like Christmas now.
At least it's a lot warmer here than back home in Minnesota. Isn't that right, Kaden?
Absolutely, Liz. As you all can see on the live shot of downtown Lexington, today I have clear skies, full of sun and mild temperatures. Today's high was 52, Again, mild temperatures for now in December with a low of 34. Today's barometric pressure was 29 and 97 inches of mercury, and the wind speed was mild at 12 miles per hour. Humidity is ultra comfortable at 39%. Now we take a look at the radar with no showers in sight. Looking forward at regional temperatures, Lexington is 52 and sunny right now. Buena Vista at 49, Stanton at 48, Charlottesville at 49, all sunny. Lynchburg is a couple degrees warmer at 53 and sunny. Now we look to Covington, which is usually cooler, but is 48 and sunny today. And Roanoke is the warmest at 57 and sunny. Now we look at the 5-day forecast. Get some clouds tomorrow with a high of 60 and a low of 34. Saturday, the sun comes back with a high of 57 and a low of 45. And Sunday, we get some showers with a chance of snow with a high of 59 and a low of 33. Monday, it cools down with a high of 41 and a low of 22. The sun's back. And Tuesday, it warms up a little bit to 46 with some clouds. So we've got some mild temperatures and some cooler weather next week. Back to you, Liz and Jasmine.
Thank you, Caden. Coming up next, our Mackenzie Kane spoke with Washington Lee's men's soccer coach about the team's thrilling end to its season.
I think the game we just played was probably one of the best D3 soccer games in the country this entire year.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. What a weekend. Were you able to make it to the men's soccer game on Friday in Roanoke?
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance, but I was watching it on live. What about you, Bella?
I was also watching it on live. It was a sad ending for our Generals, but definitely another historic moment for the team. The Washington and Lee men's soccer team fell short in their national title run last Friday, losing in the Final Four to Amherst College in penalty kicks. Our Mackenzie Kane spoke with Coach Mike Singleton about the General season and the hard work that helped the team core land for a championship.
I think in the past few games that we've played, our second half starts have been quite strong, actually, and we've really taken it to the teams that we've played. So I was just reminding them of that, even though at halftime we were down, that we've shown to be the better team in second halves, so that I believed in them, and that if they just do the things we practice and continue to do the things that we talk about all the time, that it'll work out for us. And the guys just showed great grit and great sort of energy and just fought right till the end and really took over the game and started dominating it in the later second half. So I was very proud of them, but PKs is always a tough way to end the year.
Now, this is the team's second semifinal appearance, and it's also your second one as a coach. What does it mean to be back here at the Final Four?
Well, it's great to be back, and it speaks great things about the hard work that the boys put in. And now we got to be back again, because we don't do it to become semifinalists. We do it to become champions. So hopefully with some hard work in the off season, we'll put ourselves right back in the same spot next year, and we'll go at least one step, if not two steps further.
The team entered this tournament after an at-large bid by the NCAA, and I actually spoke to your team senior captain, Evan DePaula, after going into the Sweet 16 game, and he said that one of the team's goals was to show everyone that they deserve to be here. How do you think they did, proving that goal tonight?
I think the game we just played was probably one of the best D3 soccer games in the country this entire year, and I think both teams deserve a lot of credit. So I think both teams should have their heads up high, because it was a fantastic game. It was exciting. It was drama filled. It was good soccer being played. There's some hard fouls, and so I just think the guys should really be proud and recognizing that they've done yeoman's work this year to put themselves here.
Coach, congratulations on a fantastic season. Best of luck next year. And signing off with the Rockbridge Report, I'm Mackenzie Kane.
This tournament run marks the second time in the last 3 seasons the Generals men's soccer team has made it to the NCAA Division III Final Four. Moving on to other WNL sports. The women's basketball team improved to 5-0 in ODAC play after blowing out Eastern Mennonite University by a score of 78-49. Senior Hannah Malik led the team in scoring with 22 points. Their next game will be December 16th at Center College. And 2 generals were named ODAC Athlete of the Week in their respective sports. Senior wrestler Harrison Kelly went 5-0 in the New Standard Invitational last weekend to claim ODAC Wrestler of the Week at the 174-pound weight class. Evan Langhammer was selected ODAC Field Athlete of the Week after finishing first place in pole vaulting at the Yuri Spence Guardia Invitational last weekend. It was a busy weekend for VMI sports. The men's basketball team narrowly lost to Presbyterian College last Saturday, 75-71. They'll return this weekend when they face American University on Saturday at 1 p.m. The VMI wrestling team fell in dual matches to Franklin and Marshall College Sunday. They had an early lead with victories from sophomores Tony Burke and Ryan Vigil and senior Josh Yost. But the cadets ultimately lost after F&M put up 12 unanswered points to close out the duel. The team will be on the road to face Kent State tomorrow at 1 p.m. The Rockbridge County High School men's and women's basketball teams came up short against Fort Defiance High School yesterday. The Wildcats varsity women's team fell 12-44. They will be on the road this Friday to take on rival Perry-McClure High School. The men's varsity team lost 71-91 at home against Fort Defiance. Sam Ballstead led the Wildcats with 17 points. A Perry-McClure High School swimmer has qualified for state in the 100-meter free. Olive King swam a 57.99 in the 100-meter freestyle last weekend in Christiansburg to qualify. That's all for sports. Now back to you.
Thanks, Bella. The Virginia Museum of Fine Arts is returning dozens of works to their countries of origin after an investigation found that they were stolen. Jake Burns reports.
Ranging from a statue of an Etruscan soldier to a wine flask believed to be from 330 BC, the 44 pieces of art were either stolen from museums or looted from sites in Italy, Egypt, and Turkey. The VMFA says investigators from New York believe most of the pieces were originally taken as part of an international conspiracy involving antiquities traffickers, smugglers, and art dealers that dates back decades. The museum says no current employees are linked to any sort of criminal activity related to the acquisition of the pieces by the VMFA, which all occurred back in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. A total of 61 works were reviewed by investigators, and officials will now return the 44 pieces that evidence shows were clearly stolen or looted to their countries of origin. The VMFA says they fully cooperated with the investigation since they were first approached about it over the summer. The director and CEO saying in a statement, quote, "The Virginia Museum of Fine Arts returns any works in their collection that are discovered to be unlawfully held. The museum takes seriously and responds to all restitution claims for works in our collection. This is not just our policy, it's the right thing to do. We fully support the decision to repatriate these 44 works of ancient art." No value for the stolen and looted items returned by the VMFA was released, but the New York Antiquities Trafficking Unit that investigated this case has returned thousands of pieces since its inception in the early 2000s, valued at over $300 million.
The museum says it has safely returned the pieces to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office in New York.
And that wraps up our final Rockbridge Report of the year. Thanks for watching.
For more local and national news, check out our website, rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. See you in 2024.